Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday full of shows. We got some great stuff for you today. Right now, we are starting with Behind the Streams. My name is Wes Sisa. I am a moderator. Well, here, first and foremost, I'm also a moderator for Lucid Fox in the morning. I moderate for Loco a little bit after that. But like we're going to talk about today, I actually do a lot more than just moderating. But here to talk all about that with me is my fantastic co-host, Adorkably Rini.
Hey everyone, I'm Rini. I mod for McLaffy Taffy and also for Frank the Pegasus. And I am here doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff for Streamer Square. I have the mod sword, but I'm not actually like a full-time mod here because I've moved on from some of those modding responsibilities into those other streamer roles that they discussed yesterday. So if you were here yesterday for Stream Scene, Loco and Hunter were talking a lot about the general overviews of all the different hats that streamers wear, the different jobs that they have to fill, and the roles that you just have as a streamer. It's more than just being the entertainer on stream. So some people are very good at managing all these roles together. It's just like they can have all these hats, their head fits them all. And for others, though, especially as you're growing, it's helpful to delegate or outsource all of these responsibilities to another person or to a team of people. And so as moderators, we are in this very unique position to kind of be some of the first people who step into those roles and help streamers and content creators out with all these various duties that they're doing.
So everything that they have to do, we can help them with, right?
Yes.
All those hats that they have to wear, we can take a couple off and maybe wear those ourselves. I like the idea.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go over some of those roles that they discussed yesterday on stream, which they're going to go in later and do like individualized shows highlighting just these specific roles, which would be great. Mods, you should tune into those too. That way you can kind of say, hey, I know that thing. I can help in. Or I can step in and help. Help in is also a proper. You can help in.
Yeah, help out, help in, whichever direction you want to help. If you're helping, you're helping.
The nice thing is, the very first role that a streamer has is as a performer, a director, and an entertainer. That's a role that like only the content creator can do. So mods, if you don't talk that well, just like we stumble over our words sometimes. Just know that we're not getting paid to do this, so we can be awkward, we can stumble, it's okay. You don't have to be this grand performer, charismatic person on the stream. Like, you don't have to do that. That's the one job the streamer has to do themselves.
Yeah. Like Serena said in chat, I love being awkward. I'm an awkward person. I don't feel the need to be the entertainer, and you don't have to as the mod. That's the one thing you don't have to do. Yeah. But there's a lot of other things that you can do.
Yeah, there's different things like social media manager, the marketing or brand manager, sales, public relation, legal, business, financial, video editing, producer, production assistant, which is, hi, Morag, that's who we have here to do that stuff for us. Graphic designer, data analytics, team manager, community manager, and even personal assistant. That's like,
oh my gosh.
Whoo. And as a streamer, like the idea of wearing all of those hats can be very overwhelming. It's like, I have so much to do. Like, and people were asking, like, when do we get when do we bring a person on to do this? Well, when you're starting to feel overwhelmed or you realize that hat's not a good fit for you. Maybe you can't pull off baseball caps or cowboy hats. Sorry, hat metaphor's going too far on this, I think.
So it's okay if you're a streamer and you right off the bat, even with a concurrent viewership of 3, need someone to help you with graphics. That's okay. If the best you can do is open paint and scribble, not every streamer has to wear every hat. And that's our point here today. So there's a lot of these things that we can take over from them. We mentioned the few things that we can't take over from them, but like, let's get into a little bit of what some of these roles can look like. Because when I hear something like social media manager, I think of someone who's running the entire account and the streamer no longer has anything to say on it. And it's just a complete, it's managed like a corporation, but that's not really how most social media help between streamers and mods work, is it? So like, what does a social media manager in the sense of a mod look like in relation to a streamer?
Yeah, but that one is kind of unique because maybe you're someone who's helping do some of the more basic scheduled tweets or making sure the pinned tweet represents the brand. You can create the graphics for it. So like if you are a graphic designer, you can like lend your skills to different things. Or like social media even comes into like the social media person needs to work with whoever's doing the video editing. So getting clips down to like nice, polished, edited pieces, which you want to have your captions put on. You want to have it either highlight to the person's face who's talking or something funny that happens. My favorite things with streamers is when they actually take the time to edit down those like beautiful moment clips to like reel it on their face, to like dramatize it. Like I love those clips, and I know they take work. I can't do it. That's not my skill. But there are a lot of people who can do it, and there are people who will do that and just provide that service alone for streamers, which I think is really cool.
Well, and it can also look like, I know there are a lot of streamers that do their own video editing. Maybe they're like coming from YouTube, or that's just something that they're good at. But it could be as simple as, and we're going to talk how a lot of mods tend to fall into these roles and how you kind of get these hats. But for social media, it could be just that you're the person that's on Twitter and Reddit a lot. And you just go, hey, by the way, Loco, Among Us memes, they're everywhere right now. If you want to edit together a video of you playing Among Us and tweet it out, I think now's a great time. It could be as simple as that, just a suggestion on something that you've noticed. They could, and that potentially could get you into a bigger role in that.
Yeah, if you're able to kind of follow the trends and the memes of the time, that's going to help out your streamers so much because it'll allow them to start collecting and really stay on top of the industry as well. Because as we know, like streaming, there are a lot of serious things and like the like try hard game stuff. Like that's still a big part of streaming and gifts and stuff. But like people love memes. That's what kind of gets you known for things. Like you look at people like Nega Oryx. She's been on the Streamer Square a lot. She really gets well known for some of these memes. They're well timed, well edited, and just placed perfectly on Reddit at the right time. Sometimes she and her team kind of control that. A lot of times not. So you kind of, I don't know, it kind of goes back and forth for that one. But having good community members who like to clip and do that really help, because then as a mod, you can start curating those for your streamer and kind of being aware of them too.
What are some of the other roles that you want to talk about that we discussed that you can take over from streamers and take one hat off of their head and put it onto yours?
Yeah, graphic design is a big one. It's an easy one to step in, especially as events are happening. I have one that I put together just recently this past week, or I guess this weekend, where for Frank's team, we are doing not really a community day, but we're doing a challenge day where the mods are going to be playing Among Us with Frank on stream. And so we have mods Among Us. I drew a cute little graphic that is one little space bean surrounded by little green mod beans, kind of panicked and such because, there's so many mods and they're here to kill you first. So that was fun to do. And that was something simple that I could draw out in Photoshop. We have other people who do a lot of our thumbnails, because when you have highlights and stuff, you can actually create a custom thumbnail for your highlights, and that looks so nice. Like having that just little professionalization and having templates for that. Like if you know Photoshop, GIMP, or any of the other awesome creative software out there, that's something you can do. Like when you know an event, make a little thumbnail for it so you can advertise it. But the date, time, little funny thing that goes with it, it's so good. Helping out with some of the overlay things. I made Taffy a super, super basic overlay for when he decides to have lunch. And it's just a white box on the outside with the little red frame and his food emote, which is a nice little like sandwich. And then I forget who's on the other side, but it's one of his other emotes. And I just took high res images of those emotes, which thankfully I have a connection to his emo artist and I have access to those. And so I just put those on there and it was done in like 5 minutes. It was so easy to do.
And another thing that is important in this entire discussion of taking on mod hats is recognizing the need for something like that, right? Like if you have, if you've seen Loco's thumbnails and you've seen my Photoshop skills, I have no business just making stuff for her and saying like, oh, here, use this. Like, there's someone doing it already who's much better than me. I could learn and I could try to emulate them and like be a backup for them, which is a great thing to do. And it's a great way to share skills.
Support your team.
Yes, support your team. Like I know for channels, I've seen the YouTube person train the next YouTube person just so that they can take off and get a break or have a backup, and sharing those skills among your team is huge. So maybe you want to learn graphic design, but you're like, oh, well, so-and-so's already doing it so much better than me. Ask them for help.
Yeah.
Ask them to learn. You're also trying to help them because you're basically saying, hey, if you ever need a break, I can help you out. So don't be afraid to learn those skills, but also, like I was saying, just be on the lookout for things that are missing or things that are lacking that you think you can improve on. Another one of those would be like video editor.
Yes. Yeah. Being able to be like, hey, I recognize that clip is great. You know what would make it even funnier if we wove it in with this other clip that happened somewhere else. Like sometimes, because chat can kind of interrupt what happens on stream. So like the funny moments, like, aha, here's something funny. Oh, hi, thank you for the gift sub. Haha, back to funny. You can edit all that out and get in a really nice, like professional looking little clip that they can use in a reel. They can use in the raid videos, YouTube, a lot of fun things that they can use for that. And it's just, a nice little fun thing to do. And I want to say that using video editing software isn't hard. It does take finesse and whatnot, but there are free softwares out there. I know Humble Bundle has a lot of the creative softwares on sale quite often. Get it when it's on sale. Find a free version. Play around. Just take random clips or images and stuff and just make test ones. A lot of my first emotes were really bad. And how I got to like practice and do more was just making more. I made more bad emotes until eventually they weren't bad anymore.
Yeah. And with something like video editor, another really useful thing that you can throw together is just, oh, was there a funny meme in Among Us that happened? Put it together, splice it up so you can make it into a compact 20-second story and put captions on it. Boom. That is so useful to your streamer. And I'll tell you that with zero video editing experience, I downloaded a free program and learned how to do that in like 30 minutes. Like I'm pretty techie, but like I'm not great. It's not, if I can do it, anyone can do it. So if you want to be able to do, and when I see a lot of the great like blow up memes and videos and jokes and stuff on Twitter, I could do those. I'm not clever enough to think of the funny part, but the technical part of making the video, I could do that. So there's something to be said for just investing a little time in something that you might, because now I can edit videos and I make stupid Valorant memes with my friends, and it's just like a fun little skill to have. And I learned it because I wanted to do something for the stream.
Yeah, and it's one of those too, like if you look at some of the examples that kind of get out there and get a lot of tractions, they're not these like highly produced things. Like when I think of like super high production, I think of things like Big Cheese KIT. His production skills for his stream, top of the line, amazing. When I think of like the clips that make me laugh and I watch them over and over again, go to Vio's Twitter account and watch her latest Among Us clip where she realized her safety buddy wasn't really a safety buddy. And that was just put together so quick. Like, I don't know if it was put together quickly, but like it's done simply. There's just plain white Helvetica text. She's saying, or she's captioning essentially what she's saying live, but not always, which is kind of a nice thing with some captions. Like, yes, for accessibility, you should caption everything. But for space time, yes, you can kind of just be like, here's what really needs to be covered. And so what she did with that was really great. And I highly, highly recommend watching it, just to be like, here's something small you can do to be like, here you go. This is kind of how like edited clips go on Twitch right now. This is how they work, or how they're successful.
Yeah, that's I see a question in chat that if you're okay with it, I would love to answer right now. I think this is a great question. What's the best way for a streamer to suggest ideas to their mods? I feel odd asking them for things when it's a volunteer role. That is so fair, but respect the fact too that, like, okay, so streamers will always feel awkward asking mods for something. I think that's kind of unavoidable depending on your personality, right? Some people are okay asking for that and they don't feel any type, but I guess it's how you ask it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's your advice here, Rini?
I think one of the things you can do is, like, as we said earlier, kind of keep an eye on what's missing from the stream. Like, maybe the streamer isn't comfortable getting clips and editing them for Twitter. So that's one thing, like, hey, you know, I noticed that you're not really tweeting out clips. Is this something you're interested in? Streamer could be like, hey, I like community events, but just they're overwhelming for me. One of the things you can just do is just suggest things. Like, if they're lacking that, be like, hey, what if we did this? Can I help out this way? And the best way to really do that is, if you're not having mod meetings at least monthly or weekly or however often you're having mod meetings, you really, really, really need to have a mod Discord server or channel. Mod channels help so much. You can plan everything, and it's just a nice way to check in with everyone on the team. And the streamer needs to be aware of these things. Like, maybe the streamer doesn't care at all. Like, they're like, Twitter's not my thing. I'm not looking to grow on Twitter. I'm not getting good return for people coming back to stream for that. So, like, Twitter's not something I'm interested in. Maybe it's YouTube. So just have those conversations with the streamer. Like, what are you interested in? What's something you want to do that you're not doing now? And yeah, just don't be afraid to ask the question.
Yeah, and I think from the streamer's point of view, just don't be afraid to ask for help. It doesn't have to be just a suggestion is all it needs to be is, hey, I'd like to do this. Does anyone know how to do it? Would anybody be willing to learn how to do it? There's again, just like the video editing thing, there's so many things that I've learned through moderating for channels because of a question that was just innocently asked like that. I felt no obligation, and I told the streamer exactly how I felt. Hey, I've never done this before, but I have the program and I'm willing to spend 30 minutes on YouTube trying to figure it out. It'd be cool to know anyway. And that's how I learned how to make GIFs. That's how I learned how to edit video. That's how I learned to clip things in Audacity. It's just someone needs something and they just gently ask. I think streamers would be surprised how many people in their community are willing to at least give it a shot. GIFs, yes, GIFs, 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 GIFs. Wow, way to disavow me there. No, that was a great question.
Yeah. It's one of those things too of, like, if you do have a skill, one of the things we love is, like, yes, we have our mod channel in Discord that is for work businessy type stream specific stuff. Have a just like chatter, garbage, sewer, whatever you want to call it, channel for your mods where they can just have social time. Take that time either there or elsewhere on the server where it's appropriate. Show off your skills. Maybe the streamer just doesn't know you can do something.
Yep.
And they might feel awkward, be like, I don't want to ask you to do something for me, but, like, show it off, brag a little, like, you know, understand that maybe the streamer loves and respects you, but they're just not ready to work with you in that aspect or change the roles up on stream, because it does also change some stuff as far as, like, when you have a mod step into these roles. So it could be personal preference for the streamer based on their comfort levels, their work styles, or even their budget. So that's some of it. And then also, like, some of these roles that we've talked about, things like doing business stuff and personal assistance, anything where you're kind of moving beyond just the standard public-facing information, you're going to be coming across stuff that may be sensitive information, which I highly recommend getting some sort of formal or informal contract in place if you're going to be doing a significant amount of work for this person. Which something that has recently come up for us here at Streamer Square was like, do we have all the mods sign NDAs? That's not a common thing at all for mod teams to sign NDAs. It's just kind of this unspoken rule that you just, if you're a moderator, it's a sacred thing and you don't share things that the streamer shares with you. This can backfire when you have public falling outs with your mod teams and such. So like having that contract there helps. I don't know if every stream team needs it. Wes, what are your thoughts on like formal versus informal NDAs, friend DAs, that kind of stuff?
I think in 95% of mod teams, especially it depends on the culture of your mod team. A lot of the mod teams that I'm on or that I've been on meet weekly or monthly. There's a certain level of trust. We're in voice chat or video chat with each other. So like we have this relationship established where when we say, hey, don't tell anybody about this until I post it on Twitter. And I don't think the formality is really necessary. And I also think that that comes down to if you are a streamer telling your mods that you can't explicitly trust something that might require an NDA, just don't tell your mods.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, if you feel like that's something that's happening, that's something you should speak up about too. If you feel like, if you've got new mods on the team and your streamer comes out and says, look, I just signed this contract, but it's not announced until next week. Wouldn't be wild to just nudge the streamer in a DM or something and be like, hey, if we're not supposed to be saying things, maybe we shouldn't be told things.
Yeah, it is hard because like moderators are the backbone of the stream a lot of times, and they're doing so much extra work. They're really involved in the community. They're helping plan things. So sometimes it is helpful to have them know things. That's why for me, I personally like just in the like having a mod agreement of some kind of just not even signed, but just like, this is what I expect of you as a moderator. Like these things, you'll respect this, this, and this. And just saying like, hey, when you're onboarded, read this. And like, it's sort of like informal fine print type of things. Just be like, I want us to be on the same page of this. For Streamer Square, we had the mods sign NDAs just because of some business things that we want to share that, we can't share otherwise. And we don't want to leave the mods out, but have everyone else on the team know. So if everyone else is getting signed, we're signing the mods at this point. But like down the road, whether or not that's actually going to be needed, I don't know. But if just for your everyday streamer, I think having that sort of expectations put out on in writing really helps, just to kind of clear the air.
Jumping back up a little bit to another question that we got in chat from Marked at Home. I think this is a great question as well. You mentioned a previous stream about mod applications. How would that affect the process with asking mods? I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in chat, Marked at Home, I think we were still talking about different roles that you can take and different hats that you can take when that question was asked. And there are two ways to look at it, right? The stream or the moderation applications from the side of the streamer. From the streamer, they can either make sure that there is a point in the form that says, if they need a video editor, they can put directly in there, do you have any experience with editing video? If they want more general responses and they're kind of open to ideas, we like to put one that just says, what skills or talents do you have outside of moderating? Like just really anything. If they want to brag about something, we kind of let them do it. And it's amazing some of the stuff that has come from that. From the the person applying side, I would put straight up in your application if there's a spot for it, and I would hope that there would be, not only what you're good at, but a way to say that that might be what you're more interested in, if that's the case. A lot of times there will be mod forms open, and you can apply to be a mod and say, hey, but I'd really like to be a video editor for you. That's where I'd like to be. I have this much experience, and here's a thing or two I made from your stream. See if you like it. So I think the stream or the mod application goes both ways in its helpfulness for that, if it's set up correctly.
Yeah, and we do have an example on our website, on our Work For Us page. We actually are taking mod applications, and part of that is in your experience. You can list sort of things that you are good at that maybe we would like to know and could use.
It's a very good thing. If you're modding for a streamer who's ever considering opening up mod applications, I think it's a good idea. You take a look at that one and kind of brainstorm about why we may have asked the questions that we did and what we might be looking for when we're reading a mod application like this. So
yeah, and the nice thing about mod applications is you can have it just be a simple Google form. All the information is collected there. And then it's also kind of nice because if you've done applications once and maybe say 3 months down the line, someone's work schedule changed or a family event happened and they're not available as much anymore and you need someone else, you have this nice database of people who might be interested still. And so you can check back in with them rather than doing an application again. Yep. I would say only do new applications maybe after 6 months to a year. Potentially just so you're not having to create so many documents. I mean, you can copy and do all that stuff, but it just kind of saves you a little time and doesn't make the people who applied once have to keep reapplying.
It's also a great way to store, we can go see who applied to be a moderator in the last round right now. And like Rini was saying, there's a lot of people that, for various reasons, whether, this person's a little bit new to be considered for a mod, but let's think about them in 6 months, or, this person's schedule isn't perfect right now, but you know what? We've been streaming a lot later recently, and they said they're around in the afternoon. Maybe we reach out to them and check up on them. Yeah. So it's super useful for that. I love Google Forms for mod applications.
Yeah. And one of the things, too, the hat that we haven't talked about as much is data analysis and whatnot. That seems like some big heady thing. If you know and like spreadsheets, trust me, your streamer wants it and needs it. There's a lot that you can do with spreadsheets to help keep your streamer focused or to help the community in different ways. We have one for Taffy that has now become kind of famous, and I made it, so I'm a little happy and proud about that. It is our play the game streamer spreadsheet, and what happens is we record all of the money that people give us or give Taffy to play various video games or do things like take his kids out to Dairy Queen or get sushi for dinner for the whole family. And so all of that's just tracked nicely on the spreadsheet. It's organized well. All of the mods have access to it, which I will say, if your mod team is heavy on documents and spreadsheets, the quickest thing you can do to help your streamer is to create a Gmail account specifically for the mod team. We have one that's just taffymods@gmail.com. Taffy is the only one who has login information to that other than myself because I made it, but I've already forgotten what it is, so it doesn't really help. And then all of that is saved into a specific Google Drive. That way no one is taking up their own personal Google Drive space. That gives you, I think, 10 to 15 gigabytes worth of space just for that one account. It's great. And you have a calendar there, everything can be on this and other people can have access to it. I love Google for this because you can connect your personal account to this, which if you're a mod, please make an email account for yourself on Google that is not doxing your personal information. Have a second one.
I mention that in every mod interview I do, and I'm going to mention it again here. If you are becoming a mod on Twitch or you are a mod on Twitch, make a username at gmail.com. If you need to, make it, Wes Cisa Twitch at gmail.com. If Wes Cisa is already taken, it is. Don't try it. But I highly suggest it. It's super important. A lot of times you might create a document or be sharing a document with your other mods and the streamer. Sometimes that gets shown on screen. We've had instances where documents that we made for Loco got shown on screen, and we needed to make sure that when that happened, we were all logged in with something that we were okay showing at the top, or in incognito mode, so that we showed up as, anonymous ferret or whatever.
Yeah.
But
there are cases, maybe you are a professional that your name is already out on the internet associated with your face, like our very own Carly Cartoons. She's out there. She's a professional. She's well known. That's fine if that's something you want, but you have to kind of assess that before you put yourself at risk. So if you're not sure that you want people to know your first and last name or anything that might be relevant to your personal information, just go ahead and make a safe one for the time being. Like, think about your Twitch name and how much it reflects on your personal information. So if you're uncomfortable with having your name out there, even your first name, it's perfectly okay to make a Google account that doesn't share that. Definitely. We have a cat interrupt us.
Yes, we have a cat. Where are we in the outline, Cat?
I think this is a perfect time to get into our favorite topic, which is where I get to grumble at Wes for a little bit, and he'll grumble back at me for doing things that we are bad at. Like, we're not following what we preach, and so this is going to be a good one for all of us, and that is but I'll do this work for free for you, streamer. Should you be working for free as a moderator?
I have no idea what you mean.
I'm bad at it too, I will admit. Like, I am a very big champion for not undervaluing yourself as a stream or as a moderator, as a creative, as any kind of professional person. Don't do stuff for free or for exposure. But like, let's actually get into this. Like, should you be doing any of this work for free? What's your thought, Wes?
Yes. Just because, okay, so there's a lot of factors that go into this, right? Are you moderating for someone who is pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yes, you should probably be paid. Are you moderating for someone with 20 concurrent viewers and your goal is not to moderate for a popular stream? Your goal is to help somebody grow. You are volunteering your time. There's nothing wrong with volunteering your time. That is totally normal. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not, if you want to see somebody grow. But there's a fine line between supporting a community, wanting to see somebody grow, and I guess maybe the best, I didn't thought about how I was going to say this, but I guess maybe the best way to look at it is if it feels like a job, it should probably pay like a job. If you hate what you're doing and you're not doing it because you, in your heart, want to see it succeed, then you probably should either stop volunteering, leave, or get paid for it.
Yeah. And the big thing to mention here too is payment isn't always money. It's not like currency can be anything in this ratio or in this aspect. Maybe exposure. I mean, as much as we say you can't pay your rent and exposure, maybe that is what you need right now is exposure. And if this is not a source of income for you, if you have a steady source of income that is actually supporting you, that's something you have to take into consideration. You can do some of these things for free, and what you get back in return from them is gifted subs, a lunch, a shout out on stream. There's some of that stuff too. Like, you need to be careful on how you're doing it. One of the things that is really hard, and I think Carly will back me up on this one, is when you as an individual creative give your work away for free, you're setting that value to either being $0 or zero something in return. You need to have something in return because otherwise you're creating a culture of imbalance. And that hurts other creatives. Because as much as I hate to admit it, the streaming industry has kind of set itself up where content creators love to get as much as they want or much as they can for free without anything in return. This was true also of content creators on other platforms like Instagram and blogging. Like, this is not a new trend. People want work or they want stuff for free. We're seeing it now in the music industry. People want to be able to use music for free without crediting the artist or paying for the music. You shouldn't do the same thing like with your emotes, with your any time that's spent, like all of that things. Like, you need to be careful. So we need to not normalize taking advantage of people's charity and goodwill and normalize paying people for work, whatever that payment is to you. It could be 2 chickens and a goat.
So this gets really interesting too, because for me, when you start to consider the parasocial relationship that exists between streamers and their audience and streamers and their mods, it's not always in a predatory way that a streamer takes something and uses it without paying for it because they are offered those things.
Yes.
People make fan art of Loco and she doesn't need to ask for it. And she can still just be like, hey, is it okay if I tweet this? I think this is really good. And there doesn't need to be an exchange of money there. But I think there's a very important distinction between that, making a meme for someone's channel or something like that, and then when a streamer asks for something. When a streamer asks for something, especially if it is in your area of expertise, like if I'm learning how to do video editing so I can make something super simple and stupid for Loco, then I'm not going to ask for payment. Like, I'm an amateur and I spent 30 minutes on YouTube. But if Loco asks Carly to animate a short scene for her, yeah, she better pay her. Like, that is her job. She, went to school and paid a lot of money for school, so she could do that. So I think there's a lot of nuance there. But yeah, I don't think that everything that like a streamer is using from other people without paying them is necessarily, predatory in any way. But it also is something to be very aware of the dynamic of that relationship when you're asking for something or giving something.
Yeah. And one of the things you can do too is like, how much work from one individual are you using on your stream? Are all of your emotes made by one of your moderators and you didn't pay for a single one, but they just keep giving you free emotes? Like, that's something to look at. The thumbnail that I made for Frank for the Among Us thing, that was done freely of my time. Like, I didn't get any payment for that. And so there's a balance of like, what should you be doing versus like, is this okay? Is this not okay? And I think a big thing here for streamers too is learning to say no to free things. Taffy's gotten pretty good at saying that to some of us, because for his channel that is just his like after dark channel, doesn't matter about the metrics, do whatever he wants channel, it is affiliated, and he also does like, earn money. There's a chance for emotes. I made some goofy dumb emotes for that, and he's just like, nah, this doesn't really fit what we want, and I'd rather pay my professional emote artists to make extra emotes, so we kind of have this like runoff channel of secondary emotes, kind of like how Baru has Rescue. Like, it's just more things for him. So like, as a streamer, don't feel bad saying no if it doesn't fit what you need or what you want, or if you're just like, I respect you too much to let you do this for free. No. If they keep pushing, be like, no, but I want to, like, let me give, it's my gift to you, because streamers don't want to admit that the emotional labor that they do as entertainers and streamers is actually also valuable. And for some of us, we maybe can't donate money. Like, I can't just give any of my streamer friends $100 tip whenever I feel like I want to, because I feel like they do deserve it. This is their income. This is their livelihood. Streamers need to get paid for their content too. but I can pay my streamer back in like a thumbnail here or there, or a really well done spreadsheet or something. Like I can pay my streamer back somehow. It's sort of this nice mutual relationship where they give me something even if they don't see the value in it. I give them something even if I don't see the value in it. There's still a good trade there. But yeah, and if you do feel like your streamer is taking advantage of you, you do need to say something. I've been in those situations before where it's like I was making all of the event graphics for a streamer, didn't get a thank you for most of them because of just some personal things of whatnot, but like it was a big thing, and it started to really hurt my feelings that like I was doing all of this work and all this creative stuff, and I'm like, I just want a little shout out to be like, look at this cool thing I did. And I just wanted a little recognition for it. Like I didn't want money. I just wanted to be like, but this was by me, by Rini. Things by Rini. Give me that. Like, let me feel good because I'm not the performer. I'm not the entertainer. I'm not the center of attention. But I am someone who put their heart and soul into this tiny little badly drawn Photoshop thing. Just give me a pat on the back. Say thank you. Let the community know that I did this. It means a lot to me personally.
Yeah, there's something. I'm trying to think if does that apply to everything that you share publicly? I kind of feel like that should just be a rule, right? Like if a streamer is using something that one of their mods made, whether it's in a tweet or in a clip or they're posting it in their Discord, like,
according
are there
to
exceptions?
the FCC, yes, I believe you should be giving credit to everything. Like that's why, or at least you have to look at the licenses of things. As like not to get
from
too
like a legal standpoint,
but like you should, yeah, have some transparency. Like that was a big thing that happened with blogging for a while. Was people were putting up stock photos or taking photos from other people and not saying where they came from. And there are Creative Commons licenses that you can put on anything you produce. So you could probably put a Creative Commons license on your things that you create for your streamers and be like, hey, according to the license for the things that I make, you need to at least give me credit.
Well, yeah, but like going back to your example of making all those thumbnails, like you weren't going to go to your streamer and be like, I'm going to sue you. Like you just wanted a shout out. So like, yeah. Do you think it's a decent rule of thumb as a streamer to just say, I'm going to just put a little bit of credit on anything public that my mods made?
Yeah, and it's one of those things that like maybe it doesn't go in the main tweet, but it's a like thread tweet, and the next thread is graphic made by tag your mod.
Right.
And that's the thing you can do in Discord, just underneath be like graphic made by tag your mod. That's gonna be my new little catchphrase, and I'm gonna put it on a shirt. Tag your mod. Give us credit.
You know, I mean, honestly, because I think that solves so many of the issues that a lot of mods feel about underappreciated, because so many, like you said too, there are so many times when if I was going to do something small for my streamer and they were like, well, Wes, you did put some time into that, let me throw you $20, I'd be like, all right, sucker, you're about to get 4 gift subs. Like I don't feel like I'm not doing it for the money. Like, but like that's like a good back and forth. Like I've had instances where streamers will just say, no, I know your PayPal, I'm sending you money, I don't care. And I'll be like, all right, fine. Well, half of it's coming back to you at least. So thanks. Yeah. But it at least makes it a legitimate transaction where nobody has to feel like, you know, so there is a certain level of like, yeah, if you want to do things for free, you can tell them that you want to do things for free. But if they really insist on paying you, worst case scenario, just send it back to the channel. It's tension relieving for them too.
Yeah, it's about acknowledging the value of the work. And value is something that is determined between both parties. And so it's something that you have to take in consideration. And so, again, it doesn't have to be financial compensation. It can be other compensation. Sorry, I'm going to like dive into some anthropology right now. There's a theory about gift giving. I want to say Marcel Mauss, the gift, it's a whole thing. Essentially, no gift is freely given. And you can look up this whole study on the Kula ring. And essentially, like, these men would go around the islands in this little archipelago. I can't say that word, but they go around the islands and they go one direction and give a certain bracelet, go the next direction, and they receive like a necklace or something. And it's essentially, yeah, like there's always that expectation of you never give something to someone without the expectation of something in value, whether that is social compensation, which some of that is like, hey, their standing in the community just went boop and raised up. Like sometimes that's a big thing. And so you have to recognize that as well. I know for myself, I hate the whole best mod, worst mod memes, but I do feel great when the community recognizes the hard work that I've put in to make things easier on my streamer. And I think it's great when the community wants to recognize that and, pay it back. Maybe it's not the streamer who's actually, paying for things. Maybe the community's like, hey, I saw what you did for your streamer. That's awesome. Lunch is on me today. Like, you also have to like kind of juggle it too. Is like, if your streamer is pulling in like over 1,000 concurrents and making, XYZ money on subs and stuff, like, can they afford to do this? Probably. We don't know their cost of living and stuff, but like if it has the appearance that you have the money to do this, don't put it off on someone else to pay for the work that you've been given.
Yeah. I'm a little torn on like the giving mods thing. I don't know. I'm always kind of iffy on that. I think
this is where I always like get on you for things, because I feel a lot of times that you undervalue yourself as far as all of the work that you put in for your streamers. Like you do so much stuff, and I'm constantly just like, I want them to see and recognize all of the good work that you do. And I know that like for you have a whole other job that like you have your day job and it takes care of you financially and it gives you the opportunities to help people out. But at the same time, the stuff that you are doing for these streamers is super, super valuable. And I think that needs to be acknowledged and it needs to be, celebrated and praised in many ways. Like, do we need a parade for Wes? It would be awesome. And the forehead floats would be amazing.
I'm not going to say no to a small parade, a tasteful parade, maybe. I don't know. Just send me the date or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think I think that's one of the things that's always going to be a point of contention between the two of us, like privately and personally. It's just you do so much great stuff, and I just want people to recognize and celebrate you because you are an awesome mod and you do so much good stuff.
Well, thank you. That's all I needed. That's all I needed is that public thank you. No, I appreciate it. For me, it's from the community. I just never feel like I want to draw the community into, I don't know.
Well, it's hard too because like this community isn't about Wes and Wes's contributions. It's about Lucid or Loco. Like it's about that. It's about Streamer Square in some cases. Like it's not about you. And that's one of the things with the mod too, is like making that balance of like that one role that can only be done by the streamer, the entertainer, performer and whatnot. They're going to be the center of attention. And yes, some communities are more focused on the community aspect, which I think is super cool. Like when you have communities that's like the focus of the stream and the focus of the Discord. Like I think Loco's Discord is a perfect example of that. The community is front and center of that Discord. It's not Loco, it's the community. And that is super cool. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, there's a weird balance of it. You need to like, get your thank yous. But yeah, I can see why you're hesitant.
Yeah, it's, it's, to me, the only thing I need from the community is to hear that like they're enjoying it. And the only thing I need from the streamer is to give us credit, to me. But again, every community is different and everybody's different. So like, yeah, if there's, I'm not going to blame anyone for how they want to show appreciation. But yeah, appreciate mods.
Yeah. Mod appreciation is something that like has been in the forefront of my mind for the past year. It's part of why we created Mod School in our Discord to kind of get mods together talking about these things. We did a whole show on mod appreciation not a couple months ago, actually. I think there are some different things you can do. Like we have a link tree for our mods for Taffy that you can just do like exclamation mod love, and then it's just like here's the links for your mods, so you can like follow them on Twitter, follow them on Twitch, Instagram. Here's their Amazon wish list. Here's their treat stream. Like little fun things like that. Or you can do simple things that Twitch has built in perfectly to shout out your mods without being like ostentatious or in the front of the scenes like all this time. They're called panels. Have a little panel that says like thank you mods and like just list your mod team out. Or even just have a cute little graphic that says thank you mods. Don't have one of your mods make this graphic. Do it yourself. It can be a bad paint thing. Or hire out your artist to do it. Like maybe don't have them make this for themselves.
There won't be any memes, I promise. I'll do it. Anytime, Loco. Just either one. No.
Like, we do things for like stream anniversaries and whatnot. Like I love the streams that actually take a day and do a mod appreciation day. It's just that one day of the year that you can just be like, hey, you guys do so much hard work for me. Here's a little bit just for you, where myself as the streamer and our community can be like, you did cool things. And that can be a fun day of like, maybe you play games with the mods. Maybe you play games that are just your mods' favorites and just kind of go through that. Like your mods don't actually have to still be like, they don't have to be on stream. They can still be modding during Mod Appreciation Day. Some people give the mods like any of the subs that come in, like they'll split that amongst all the mods. Like that's something you could do. You don't have to, but like take a time and just have a like public thank you to your mods somewhere. It could be Twitter, Discord, on your stream. Just do a little something. It makes all the difference.
Serena had a really good question in chat. If you do feel like you need compensation for something you've done for a streamer, how would you suggest starting that conversation?
Send them
before you do the work.
That's true. Yes.
If it's something that you've done for your streamer before and you find it turning into a pattern. So they asked you for a thumbnail one time because you know how to do thumbnails. They know you do Photoshop, or maybe they just asked the mods in general and you volunteered. Then they ask you again and they say, hey, Wes, that thumbnail was so good. Can you make me another one for this event? And you go, yeah, okay. That's cool. And then by the third or fourth time, you're like, wait, am I being taken advantage of here? Make sure you start that conversation as soon as it starts to feel like you're being taken advantage of, or like you are doing more work than you should be. That can be before the first one, but like I said, there's so many situations where you find yourself accidentally doing too much work or taking on a project that took you way longer than you expected, and you're just like, wait, I should not have agreed to take this on without payment. As far as starting that conversation,
it's a hard thing. It's gonna be in DMs. You can either ask for like, if it's gonna be hard to type out and you think it might be confusing, ask like, hey, do you have 5 minutes that I can just talk to you real quick in a call, just about this thing you asked me about? You don't have to make it sound super serious. It's like, I have a few questions about it. I just want to clear it up. And that question could be, hey, you know, this is going to, like, I found out it's taking me a lot longer than I thought it's going to be. It's costing me a lot of time, emotional energy, all of this stuff. Like, what you thought might be a 20-minute job is actually turning into a 4-hour job. Is there any way I could maybe get paid for this? Or, like, can we work something out as far as, like, can you gift me a sub for the next couple months?
Yep.
Like, I take gifted subs for payments for some things. Depends on what it is. If it's something that takes hours and hours and hours, I would prefer money. But if it's like graphics that I'm doing that might take half an hour after the first one, give me a gifted sub for the month. I mean, yes, that's valuing my work at like what, $250 for the average breakout for it, but I get all the emotes. Well, so I'm getting all of those emotes, which is added value.
And sometimes it can be an accumulated thing too, right? Like, Yeah. Oh, I made this thumbnail for you. It took me like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. It wasn't a lot of work. I'm not going to charge you for my 10 minutes, but say you give me $20 every 10 I make or something like that, like just a little something. If I'm continuously doing this work for you, let's just toss me a little something every once in a while, every X amount that I do for you. It's open. There's no hard and fast contracts with these. This is like a new space for people. Like nobody's like, oh yeah, the standard industry rate for a moderator. Like, no, that doesn't exist. If you're a moderator and you're doing more, you got to kind of maybe get creative. Unless you're like Carly and it's like your job and they're asking you to do your job, then like, yeah, you have your rates. You know how much your job costs.
Yeah. And like Serena has a great follow-up. Is like, well, if you already have a recurring sub, how do you go about asking for that? Like, you can cancel your sub and then basically just say, here is when my sub expires. Maybe try to get me before stream. That way it doesn't get sniped, because I personally like to see how long it takes before someone snipes my sub. I think it's funny. But there are other things too, like these headphones that I have, these lovely, nice headphones. These are the St. Jude headphones. These were not paid for by Taffy. These were a gift for the community who raised that much money. The community decided that because I needed new headphones and I had done so much work for Taffy, that it was okay for this. Did I feel a little bit weird getting them, and not actually having it be something that Taffy could raffle and give away? Yeah, it did feel weird. But the community was so dead set on, like, if you raffle this, whoever wins, we're going to give them to Rini. I'm like, if you're going to be that forceful on it, then... like, it was a weird situation, and I do feel weird sometimes, too, because, like, but the other mods need things, too. Well, we take care of the mods when needs arrive. Like, there are so many times that where either the community members have joined together to help out a mod in need, which sometimes the mod won't ask for it publicly. They'll just say something, and the streamer might know that it's okay to say something publicly, like, here's their GoFundMe. Just go help out for a little bit. Or mod teams help each other out a lot. We love to send gift baskets and care packages to friends. We love to do things like, hey, we know you're having a hard time because, like, maybe you lost your job. We all pitched in. We sent it to your PayPal. We helped you out with rent. Like, just little simple things. Like, understand that these people are not just... It's a weird balance because they're not employees. They're not, like, best friends always. Sometimes they are. There's this weird relationship between mod and a streamer that, like, has to take work, has to take balance. And I think acknowledging the value that someone gives you, like acknowledging that back, is a big thing. I think my train of thought halfway through that too. I'm sorry.
No, it ended as well as it started. I thought you knew where that train was going from the time you took out of port. Like, that made sense to me. But I think if we wanted to encapsulate today's episode into like just a couple major points, it's what: know your worth and know your boundaries.
Boundaries, those are big things. Like, you have to kind of establish, if you're going to be on a mod team for a long time, even if you're just brand new, know what lines you need for yourself. And that's something you should do in every relationship. Wes and I, as friends, have boundaries about what we can, or not what we can, but what we're willing to open up and share with ourselves. What are topics we should maybe not get into because we know it ends up in hurt feelings. Like, boundaries are something that just are good as humans, as adults, to learn. And as moderators, it's no different. You need to have boundaries.
I think another overarching theme today would be ask, whether you're the streamer or you are the moderator who's looking to put on another hat, or the streamer who's trying to take off one of their hats. Ask. There's no harm in asking, whether you want to pick something up or take something off. Communication is always key. Yep.
It's one of those things where it is hard to, like, get into some of these things that feel like tricky business or personal topics, but you just kind of have to just take that leap, take that chance. which is something that, if you're a moderator already, you've probably taken a little bit of a chance just to be there and do extra things. So trust in yourself, trust and believe in yourself, and know that you have value. Know that your work has value and it's awesome, Wes. and and yeah, just, I don't want to be like the whole like, yay, super positive, believe in yourself and you can do it. But no, honestly, just step up and try. If you fail, you fail. Like, just go out and try it.
Well, and I think another very good point that was made in chat was don't be afraid to talk business for a business. I wouldn't skirt around the situation. If you need to get paid for something because you're putting a lot of labor into it, just say it like it is. It's not taboo to ask money for work. It's how most of us get by. That comment was made by the fantastic Danatage, which is a great segue because we actually have another show coming up right after this. Rini, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, right after this, we have Danatage, who is very well known for his philosophical, going outside of the box, nice stream of thought, actual like nice river of knowledge and philosophy and everything deep divey that you could get into. And even just, maybe you're gonna go surface level and bounce and skip your. I'm going way too far into these metaphors today. But, we've got Dan. He's an amazing person. We love him. We're so glad to have him on the Streamer Square team. And he is going to be talking about timelessness and post-production. So it's going to be a really cool talk.
That's going to be a good
lot
one
to learn about. He's our teacher, ready to talk.
And when is that? Like, that's in what, 3-4 minutes? We're popping that off soon here.
Yeah, I'm speaking like Danatage. I have learned well. School is going great. But yeah, we want to thank you guys all for tuning in and having this sort of like follow-up stream from the mod side to last night's stream scene episode, going into like all these different roles and jobs that streamers have to do. Well, guess what? Mods can do them too. It's great. Sorry. But yeah, so thank you so much for you guys tuning in. I've been Adorably Rini, also just Rini. That's me. You can catch me around here all the time. We will be back next week with a lot more shows, but stay right here in your seats. Maybe go get some water or do a quick like bio break or something, but come back right here for Danatage. Wes, tell us about you. Who are you?
I'm Wes. Some call me Wes Sisa. Some call me Wes Sisa, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragon. I mean, I've got a lot of titles. Wes Sisa's fine. You can find me there on Twitch and Twitter. I'm super excited for the show that's coming up right after this. If you're a mod, stick around for the next show. You'd be amazed how much you learn from the other shows on our platform that you can apply to moderation. I promise it's how I got into moderation, was by watching the other shows. So stick around, watch that. It's going to be great. All you other mods out there, if you're not already, hop in our Discord. We have a mod school section, and it's not just for learning how to mod. It's also just for, shooting the crap with fellow mods. Hey, maybe you want to ask, hey, I want to get paid by my streamer. I don't know how to approach them. Hey, we got people who might be able to help with that. So make sure you check that out as well. And we will see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.